Hey there, Lady Randombox here, and today we're playing Episode Ignis. Specifically, we are doing a friendly match, which is unlocked after you defeat Episode Ignis at least once. This is the fight against Noctis, and it's fairly easy once you understand his fight patterns that he goes through. And I'm just going to jump right into this. I'm going to skip past the loading screens, because as we all know, Final Fantasy 15 loading screens take forever. So I will be back right after the cutscene.
Since when are you my sparring partner?
I've schooled you in a great many things to date.
But why this now?
Call it a scholar's curiosity, to know firsthand what metal the true king is made of. I may not be Gladio, but underestimating me is a recipe for failure.
You're gonna make a meal of this.
And the loser will eat all his vegetables.
Those are high stakes. You might be biting off more than you can chew.
Well, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Okay, so at the beginning of this fight, Noctis is pretty sporadic with his attacks. He doesn't have really a set pattern, so you're open to use just about any one of Ignis's attacks to fight him. I, for the most part, will use the Frost Bind attack because he does not like the AoE effect that it has. He will actually stop mid-swing during some of his attacks because of this, so it's a good way to kind of keep your distance from him. You're still going to want to watch him consistently because he will still sometimes hit you even though you're using that AoE attack. He's going to hit really hard throughout this whole fight, so don't feel bad about using your potions. I just suggest that you hold on to your high potions and your elixirs for as long as you possibly can because, as you can imagine, this fight is going to get much harder, so you're going to want to hold on to them for as long as possible. And there are key phrases that Noctis will say to when he is switching on to his next phase. If you keep attacking him, he will eventually go into stasis from dodging you. This is when you want to wail on him as much as possible because it's going to be some of the only times you actually can attack him without him being too crazy with his own attacks. So wail on him as much as you can, and here's another one of those places where he really doesn't like the AoE status and he tries to dodge you as much as possible, which doesn't work in his favor because he goes into that dreaded stasis. You could switch to fire at this point because it is supposed to be the binding attack that is supposed to be best against with just one enemy, but I like to stick with the Frostbind again just because of the AoE attack. It will take quite a while to get him down to the point where he's going to switch to the next phase, which is going to be fairly soon. And the key phrase you're listening for is, "What you don't think I would hit a guy with glasses." That is when his attacks will actually start to follow a pretty good pattern. And that should be happening fairly quickly. Now you're going to want to use potions and not any of the other curatives in the beginning because they're going to be the quickest thing to get your health back up, and just keep an eye on that health bar. Once it starts to get past halfway, it's going to be more difficult with just using the potions. And at that point, you could use your regular elixir, but I'd still try to hold off as long as possible, because you really need those elixirs later. And there is where he says the next phase line, when he's going to start switching up his attack. So now he's going to have more of a pattern to his attack. So when your weapon collides with his like that, you are going to want to dodge roll right past him. He will miss you and just keep attacking him. And every time your weapons collide like that, you have about 2 seconds. And you're going to want to just dodge roll right past him and keep this up for as long as possible. And he will eventually go into stasis. Now when he jumps on the roof, get your total clarity up as high as you can. You can join him on the roof and hit him with one of those. I recommend you are in the firebrand, or bind, I should say, firebind weapon for when you use the total clarity, because it does have a different effect when you are in different items, or weapons I should say, as to what the total clarity attack does. So with a fire one, it's more of a long distance one, and it does not miss usually. So whenever you have a chance to get away from Noctis and he's not consistently on your ass like he is here, get your total clarity up. Now I am using this technique that I figured out when I just rolled away like that. If you can get away from him long enough and hold down triangle, you can actually heal yourself without using a curative. This is essential for defeating Noctis, because you will run out of curatives, and again, hold on to those elixirs as long as you can and use that technique as much as you can. And see, at this point, my health is getting so low that I will eventually probably stop trying to cure myself, just because it's wasting your items at this point. So if you do have to use a Phoenix down, don't feel bad. It will actually, as you know, bring up your health all the way, and then you can continue to tackle your health and keep it up. But use that triangle move as much as possible until Noctis completely just wipes you out, because it will save you on your curatives. So when you get Noctis's health to about 50%, you're going to be listening for another key phrase, which is when Noctis is going to switch it up once again with his attack pattern, and he will start using his Armiger attack, which is really difficult to dodge, but there is a technique to doing that. Yeah, he is pretty relentless in his attack. So the best time to use that triangle attack is when he's using heavier weapons like the maces or axes, or even the shield. So here I'm finally using a Phoenix down because And it's getting hard to keep up with just healing myself with the triangle. It only brings your health up so much, but it is still a very useful tactic. So here again, he's falling into the pattern of attacking you, and then you dodge roll and continue to hit him. This pattern will happen pretty often, and you want to watch out for it because this is the best way to get some damage on him. So not going down that line he just said is when he finally switches to using the Armiger. The best way to avoid getting hit is by using Ignis's technique high jump. If you hold down L1 and just continuously use the 3 bars, you will not take any damage. So you want to conserve those technique bars during this phase of the fight and not use them outside of when he is using his Armiger, because it's just the best way to not take any damage and to get away from his attacks, because they are relentless. And you will see in my fight there's a point where I actually cannot avoid the attack, and it's quite difficult to survive from. So now is the time when it's good to use your high potions, because your health is still really high after using the Phoenix down. So you want to keep it up as high as possible, because at one point in the fight it will be very difficult to maintain your health like it was earlier in my fight. Alright, so start spamming. Oh, this is the point where I could not get a technique off. So as you can see, it's quite difficult to avoid, and it does a lot of damage, and he's difficult to get away from when he's using that. So again, when he's on the roof, use your clarity, get it built all the way up, and then just try to avoid his attack as much as possible. Use this as a time when he's on the roof to kind of heal yourself and collect yourself. He will eventually come back down. So again, I'm using the triangle technique because my health has come down far enough that I'm trying to conserve the little curative I have left. So here's that pattern again as well, where you fight him, your weapons glide, and you just dodge roll to get past him and hit him continuously as much as possible. Alright, and then listen for the noises of his Armiger, because yes, he is on the roof and you can't see him, but if you can hear the sounds of the attack coming, you can start spamming that high jump technique, and it will save your butt. I can't tell you how many times that helped. Okay, so when he starts using the ring, when he says that he doesn't like how this fight is going, that is the next phase of the fight, and you need to attack him. If you try to run away from the ring attack, you will shrivel up and eventually explode, just like the rest of the enemies you would normally attack using the ring. So hit Noctis with as many combos as you can, and he will eventually stop using the ring and fall back right into this pattern of you hitting each other, basically. And at this point in the fight, with his health getting pretty low, you could use your elixir. Don't use your high elixir yet, but you could use the elixir if you wanted to. just to bring your health bar back up. Another thing to watch out for, it doesn't happen in this fight with Noctis for me, but in past fights that I did with him, he will use his Alterna attack. You need to listen for that twinkling. It does only cover a certain area of the battlefield, and you will be able to see it. Oh, and also Noctis has Prompto and Gladio help him at one point to take you down when his health reaches a certain percentage, but thankfully it's only for a short amount of time. Back to what I was saying about that Alterna attack. If you can avoid the area it covers, you'll be fine, but if you can't, even if you have Phoenix Downs left, it will not let you use them, and you will have to start the fight over completely. So avoid it as much as possible. So falling into this pattern is the best way to do any damage on him, because he is solely focused on you. And again, getting that total clarity to where it needs to be is very essential too. And spamming the technique is great. Even here, where he's not using his Armiger as much, you're getting his health down so low that you might as well. So here I'm going to use my last curative, the High Elixir. I've still got one. No, I don't have any Phoenix Downs left. So now it's just me and Ravis. Yes, Ravis will eventually come to help you. I think it's if you've been in the fight for so long, he will appear. Because I've had it where he came to my aid sooner than this. But again, keep to your pattern of if Noctis is using the Armiger to do the high jump, because Ravis will not heal you. But thankfully you can do some link attacks with Ravis, and you can also use his technique attack, which I do not use because I did not have time, nor did I have enough technique bars left. But if you have still a decent amount of health to get rid of on Noctis, I recommend using Ravis's attack. And there you go, Noctis is down, and the fight is over.
That satisfied my appetite for knowledge. Yet alas, our king suffers the bitter taste of defeat. Nothing a healthy helping of greens couldn't fix, of course.
So there you go, the fight's over, and Noctis has to eat a ton of vegetables, which I'm sure he's thrilled to do because, as we all know, he loves his vegetables. Not really. So anyways, I hope this video was helpful. I tried my best to be thorough and explain how to do different things within the fight. So I wish you good luck and hope you can defeat him.